Ooh, ooh, ooh. WDBFradio.com. WDBFradio.com.
Questions for Erik or myself, or shortly in about another 20 minutes or so, we're going to be joined by Max. Give us a call, 888-575-4394. That's 888-575-4394. If you want to reach Erik off air, if you're hearing this on replay, you can reach him at area code 612-804-2647. That's 612-804-2647. And if you want to reach him online, you can reach him at professorncodis.com. Professor spells like it sounds. It's all one word. Encodus, ENCHODUS.com. So you can reach him there. Erik, I got a question. On this Oddities show,
yes,
what's the booth fee? What's the average size booth? Is there anyone that takes up a full aisle, or, is it a U-shaped booth? Do you work from the back of the table? How does the show set up?
Well, I'll tell you this, that this is the first time that I've done the World Oddities Expo. This is the first time. And I decided to do it because I was doing a show in Malacca, Minnesota, which is the hairy mosquito show. But I was doing that show and somebody came up and said, you would do so well at the Oddities show. And they started telling me about it. And I had never even heard of it. Like, what they start telling me, I start doing some research into it. And I thought, I probably really could, because I have a incredibly strong presence in the antiquities market and the artifact market. And the Oddities show is not something that those people typically think of when they're going to go sell something, So I thought this could be an opportunity. I want to see how this plays out.
I got a feeling you are going to do phenomenally, not just because of you and the caliber of what you would bring. I'm going to make it a little more common factor. You're a first-time exhibitor at a show. They're going to pounce all over you, and in a good way, to see what you have,
Yeah.
And so what size is your booth there?
So we have a 10 by 30 booth. It was not,
wow.
Yep. It was not possible to get a bigger one. So there won't be anybody taking up a whole aisle. That's the biggest space that I could get. And I will fill it and I could fill it 10, 15 times if I really wanted to. But the amount of stuff I have, and anybody who's been to my house can attest to that.
So what is it, like 3 8-foot tables in the back and 2 8-foot tables coming out? Or they just give you the 10 by 30 space? Do they supply tables?
They can supply tables. I have my own tables. I have my own electrical setup.
Much cheaper.
Oh, yeah, it is. I mean, it really pays off in the long run. And I think the average size booth will probably be a 10 by 10 booth. Just a very affordable booth. And a lot of people are not, they're doing this as a side gig. They're doing it as something. And so they're going to be a little smaller. They're still going to have good stuff, but they're just going to have less room.
How many exhibitors?
I don't know. I imagine it's going to be probably in the 50 range, 40 range. I mean,
got one other question. Is it all in one room, or are there anti-rooms?
I believe that it's all in one room.
That's good. That's good.
And anybody who wants to learn more about it can go to just Google World Oddities Expo, and they're a traveling expo that go all over the nation. So wherever you're listening from, they will be in attendance somewhere close to you. The next time that they'll be in Minneapolis is end of November. November 29th is the day of the show in Minneapolis. But anybody who wants to learn more, definitely look up the World Oddities Expo.
Will you do me a favor? Give the promoter my name and contact info.
Absolutely.
I would love to interview them on the show multiple times. So what is a 10 by 10 go for? What does a 10 by 30 go for?
So my 10 by 30, and this is a good range for people. So I got every bell and whistle that you possibly could get. I got the biggest space, comes with electrical. I paid the extra to have a corner.
I
paid the extra for the corner booth, and I even paid extra fees for additional staff members, because I have staff members to help me load and unload and sell, because it's a big process we go through.
Oh yeah.
I did absolutely everything. So the very most that you could possibly spend would be, it's like $750.
Wow.
That's
cheap.
that's
I don't know. Wait, now, you said something that rang an odd bell.
sure.
What do you mean you have your staff that you're bringing in?
Yes.
You have to pay for them? I don't get that.
So the way that it works.
Oh, you mean the cost of, not to the, let me rephrase that. I know you got to pay them and you got to feed them, house them, all that other stuff, but you have to pay a fee for them to be at the show?
So how it works is when you get a booth, okay, you are automatically given one dealer wristband or dealer like identification tag.
Gotcha.
And then I think if you get a bigger booth, you get two.
Uh-huh.
But then if you want more than that, which I need at least 3 to 5, so you have to pay for those extra like dealer people, and it's not much.
And what do they charge? Is it the same price as an admission ticket or more?
I think it's less.
It should be, yeah.
Yeah. I think all that is supposed to do is prevent dealers. It's a small, tiny fee to prevent dealers from bringing their family of 20 people and clogging, everything and like overrunning or taking advantage of, hey, we're not selling tickets anymore. This guy just bought, this guy said, hey, I'll buy you a $10 entry fee. You pay me 15 and you save the whatever different,
Yeah.
Small fee to prevent that happening.
Okay, what about pre-show setup shopping? Is that allowed?
So they only allow during the day of, but they do have I think they call it a VIP entrance where you get to pay a little bit of a premium and then you enter an hour or 2 hours early or before general public.
Okay, I understand that. Let me rephrase the question.
Okay, sure.
When you're in there and you're setting up, are you allowed to shop in other booths while you're setting up? Does that happen? Or you haven't been to the show? So
I'll tell you this. I haven't been to the show, but I've been to many shows that are like this. But I'll tell you this, that whether it's allowed or not, people do it. All the time. Because at the end of the day, the dealers, you got to understand, are all sellers of kind of the same type of item. And we sell it because we like it. So it's a very high probability that a dealer is going to look at another dealer and go, wow, I really like that thing that this other dealer has. And instead of buying it, oftentimes what I'll find is people will just swap, which I've done before, because if I'm going to sell you $100 item and I want to buy $100 item of yours, trade, Just skip the money phase. We'll just
let's go right to barter. Many handgun and rifle I have acquired that way, and ammo up the yin yang. I asked that question. I didn't expect the answer to be no, but since it was a different type of show, I wasn't sure. 1 day, 2 days? What's the story on the days?
It's a 1 day show, which this is the only show that I've ever done that's a 1 day show. So
what day?
It is November 29th, and I believe that's I'm not sure what that is. What day is it?
Wait, I'll tell you in a second. You said October 29th?
No,
November 29th. Yeah.
November 29th. Saturday.
Saturday, yeah. It's a Saturday. Call from the show. I hope you're too busy to do it. But if you are at a show and you got 2 minutes, give us a call. You don't even need an invitation or a sound check, or I'll give you the 888 number to use. But that would be fun. Oh, that sounds like an exciting show. When I'm presuming they did promos and feature, publicity and things. Did they advertise any highlights, or did they ask the dealers, what are you bringing that we can promote for you in our promos?
Yes.
And what was some of that?
Yes. So they promote, I think the main thing that they promote is, at least what I've been seeing, they have a Facebook page and an Instagram page that is very, very active. And from what I'm seeing more often, the things that get the most traction anyway, or at least the things that I observe more than anything, is they'll take pictures of customers and what they've purchased. Because not only do you get the cool item, but you get a happy customer of and they're excited to do this. I think that this is something that appeals to a lot of people, but is underrepresented in the market. I really do. And so,
Oh yeah, and it fits with what you want to do
oh
in
yeah,
videoing. I mean, talk about that.
yeah.
Eric
So
has a project in mind that
yes,
it's an aspect of the business that I don't think anybody's ever really done before. I
yeah.
can't remember seeing a whole bunch of, info on that. Talk about that.
So to sum it up real quick, a former guest on your show, the Parker or Levin Parker. There we go. He did a video, and he's on social media, TikTok person, and he did a video about an auction house that I've heard of before, and I was actually participating in the auction that he was talking about, and I ended up purchasing several of the items that he referenced in this video. So I decided that for my social media page, which is underrepresented, I need to be better at getting more social media presence, but that's why I hired some staff to help me with that kind of stuff. But I decided let's do a video that's kind of starting with that original TikTok video of here's some cool stuff that's for sale at an auction, then create another video that starts with and I'm the person who bought that stuff, and now come with me on the journey of purchase from an online auction, because this auction house was in Virginia and I'm in Minnesota. So this come with me on this the purchasing of the item, receiving it, in the mail, and then evaluating it, pricing it, researching it, trying to get a display stand for it, and then ultimately pricing it, getting it into my computer system, doing everything, all those bells and whistles, and then setting it up at a show, and now selling it to the general public, because this is something that a lot of general public people who go to shows like this or go to auctions just don't realize. If the hammer price, which is the final bid that wins an item, is $500, just for say, then I'm going to pay $500 plus a buyer's premium, which the auction house charges me, which could go up. I mean, I've seen them at 10% being modest. Typical's like 20-30%, but I've seen all the way to like 60% for some stuff.
Yeah. It gets crazy.
And then you got to pay shipping on top of that to get it shipped to you, and sometimes that's exponentially expensive as well. So when you're getting these items, a lot of times people reference an auction item and say, look, this thing sold and it was only $100 and you're wanting $300. And I go, yeah, but that person who bought it for $100 definitely paid $300 after it was all said and done. And then taking it from receiving it and receiving very interesting high-end unique items like I do. There's a research phase, there's a preservation phase, there's a display phase, and then price it and then put it out for sale. And then you get to impress the public. And that's what I love to do. But
yeah, I hear you.
Video series for that. I think that would be fun for people to follow.
I got to tell you, you said something that's a sore spot with myself and a lot of other people when we have the conversation. When someone says, because for some reason they know you paid for it, what you paid for it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what I paid for it. Yeah, I mean, but I'll tell you a funny story of auction buying. Yeah, we got enough time. I have two friends that are dealers and levels and financially above, notches above where I am financially in the market. And they would buy a lot of stuff at auction. And they got together one day and were talking about stuff they bought over the last several years at auction. And it has to do with you paid for it. What they noticed was this: of most of the high-end books, books of their specialty, that they bought at auction did not sell at the higher price they marked it up to. And their reasoning, it was obvious if you think about it, but it took a while to figure it out. Let's say you have a limited edition book, it's number 14 or whatever, and it sold at auction for $7,000, and now you have the same book for 10. The client that's going to buy it from you probably was bidding in that auction, and there's where the resentment really comes in. That MF outbid me. I'm not buying it from him. Let him keep it. Well, apparently, with the two of them, enough of it showed up on a spreadsheet to say, maybe we shouldn't buy, the high-end stuff at auction,
Right.
trying to put a price on it if everybody knows what we paid for it. It's a
Yeah.
double-edged sword. We got about a minute left in this segment. I got to ask you, within a price range, what's the samurai sword from the 13th century? What's the range of the price on it?
So after doing my own research, I was going to try to price it at like $3,500 to $4,000.
That's
But
all.
well,
Wow.
see, here's the thing: is that I reached out to my Japanese contact who can read the Japanese characters.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
and I said,
yeah.
"What do you think?" And he's got some experience, and he said, "You're out of your mind. That's way more. That's cheap for this.
Yeah.
You need to be charging $12,000, and the person who sees it is going to get it for a steal, because if they can get the proper paperwork, like the Japanese like sword official paperwork and whatnot, which this sword should be very effectively get, it could be worth double, triple that. So
Yes.
yep.
I'm okay. If you went to an appraiser,
Steve the Bookman Eisenstein.
welcome back, my fellow Rare Bookians. We have been having a great conversation with Erik Lemkuhl. If you have questions for Erik off air, you can reach him at 612-804-2647 or at professorencodus.com. You guys have been on the show before together. So Max, Erik, Max, and Max, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you again for the wonderful monthly invite.
Oh, well, it's a pleasure to have you here, and thank you for the message this morning. I woke up this morning feeling ugly, and then I saw your note that you sold a $425 book for me. So on behalf of the management staff and anybody else, thank you. Max, I don't think we need to go into a deep introduction. You're a feature on the show, so everybody knows you. So what's up? What have you been up to in the last week? And let everybody that's new know what's going on in your background.
Woo. All right. Well, I'm going to try to show this real quick. But we are at Faith Farm Ministries in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Faith Farm Ministries has 3 campuses: Fort Lauderdale, which I'm in, Boynton Beach, and Okeechobee. I am a consultant for them. And along with doing the consultant with their media, their books, their DVDs, the 8 tracks, all the vinyl records, everything, we also are in the second floor of their book warehouse. This morning, we ran a 2-hour show on the platform whatnot.com, which you are now becoming familiar with. I have another label there, whatnot.com. And we sold, you know how transparent I am, Steve. We sold just under $2,000 worth of books in 2 hours for Faith Farm. And that money goes to the men and women battling addiction and trying to bring God back into their lives and heal them and also heal the families. And we run this show probably once a month here on a Saturday morning, but we also do other whatnot shows here during the week. So that's where I'm at.
Define for the audience. Tell us a little more about Whatnot. I know I'm learning, but you are the master when it comes to that.
Whatnot is the newest breed, the newest platform of online selling. All the while I'm doing books, there are people who do candy, there are people who do jewelry, storage units, crystals, necklaces, costume jewelry. It's a live selling platform. 24 hours a day. People run auctions from their kitchen tables. They run auctions from their garages. They run auctions from Faith Farm. They go live. They do not have to list books like we do on eBay. We do not have to send books to an Amazon warehouse by scanning barcodes. What we do is we show books live on camera. We put 10 seconds on the clock. We start everything at a single dollar bill. And whatever it gets, it gets. We allow the marketplace to decide. We do not allow the subject love or the subject emotional love of what a book sold before to be the concrete price of a book. We allow the market to decide.
You had a 2-hour auction, $2,000, $1,000 an hour. That's
2,000. Yeah.
very, very good. What was some of the highlights and some of the other? Not everything went for hundreds of dollars, but what is some of the highlights and titles of what you went through today? And what was some of the lower end
Well,
things?
you're going to love this. Today, what we did is we had 100 boxes pre-made, pre-sorted, and we did it by category. So we had a 20-pound box of Winston Churchill books, a 20-pound box of Abraham Lincoln books, a 20-pound box of herbal remedies and folk medicine books, a 20-pound box of Hardy Boys and Nancy Drews, so on and so forth. We had 100 boxes pre-made.
Wow, Max, that's your original idea, this 20-pound box.
I started doing this from home last year, and I wanted to bring it to Faith Farm, and so we've been bringing it to Faith Farm just because they have so many trucks on the road with so many books coming in. You do not have to be greedy about what something sells for. You just have to let them go to the marketplace, and resellers buy them from me, bibliophiles buy them from me, book collectors buy them from me, parents who homeschool their children and want vintage children books buy them from me.
What was some of the lot? What was the highest lot number? Dollar wise,
the highest lot was actually the only single book we had. We had a Rocky Mountain Atlas, giant 25-pound Atlas. And I think that sold for about $80.
What year was that from?
The 80s.
1980s.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what was going to freak you out even more. It's going to freak the both of you out now. I sold about 20 boxes of Reader's Digest books, and each 20-pound box averaged about $25.
Wow.
So if you don't think the market's changed, we have to wake up.
All right. No. I got to tell you this one. You didn't get a big oh wow from me on that one. I'll tell you why. About 3 years ago, I had somebody on the show that's her market. Mm-hmm. And she was doing very well in it. So to hear from, on you in your audience, it doesn't surprise me. There is actually a very limited market for that. You're exceptionally lucky to have found a buyer for them. But wow,
not one buyer. We sold dozen boxes of them, multiple buyers.
I'm curious if that trend will last. That's just something to clock.
You are getting the people who love the look of books, just the look of
I like that.
They're not, I sold a book for you last night, a Picasso for well over $400.
Yeah.
That's a certain type of buyer. This is a different type of buyer.
I had a question I know one. Max, you have Erik sitting here. Not that you can't do all this stuff, but do you guys have anything that's a puzzling artifact of antiquity, in the store right now that you're waiting for somebody to come in and tell you what it is?
No.
Okay.
the internet is magic nowadays.
Okay.
It's 21st century sorcery. You can find whatever you want.
I love it. 21st.
Yes,
I love it.
I'll be right back. So talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back. I got
it. Okay. What's coming up for you guys? Give your what is your auction schedule? The audience that is out here, especially the ones on replay, are interested buyers in especially with what you're doing at Faith Farm and in general.
Right.
When does the Faith Farm Whatnot auction happen every week?
For me, I go Monday through Thursday at 5:00 Eastern.
Every day.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. Is that Lost Ledger? Is that Lost Ledger?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. And then Friday, I have two shows. I have one at 1 and one at 3. The 3:00 show is always art books. I always focus on art books at 3:00 Friday. Saturday is a random show. Maybe I'll be at Faith Farm. Maybe I'll be at my house. Sunday is my long show. I do 2 or 2.5 hours, and from my kitchen table, and we move about 100 lots of books on a Sunday from my house. I do want to rewind a little bit because I did a special show on Wednesday. I think I sent you a screenshot, Steve, of all antique books, all 1800, 1700 books. And we did just over $5,000 in 2.5 hours.
Wow. Max, I got to tell you, if there was such a thing as Olympic book selling awards, I'd be handing it to you. I mean, I don't, in the last, I've had this show 11 years. There are two people that have impressed me like to a major level. You have the number one spot, but I got to give it a tied for. I don't know if either one of you knows the name Zubri al-Islam.
I don't know, but I got to watch out for number 2 now. So listen.
Yeah, that's all right. Erik, you might want to look him up, especially because of what he deals in. This guy started out 4 or 5 years ago, not in antiquarian stuff, in ancient stuff. I mean, manuscript material, stuff from the 1500s, all kinds of stuff. And what he has done, I never met anyone that started out there. You wind up there, but you don't start there. And that's where he stayed. Anything to him, I think after 1700 is boring, and he's done phenomenally with it. I never saw anybody climb an antiquarian ladder like that. Yeah. And Max was tutored. I don't know if you know him, Robert Hittel, a very well-known book dealer in the South Florida area. And Max is all modern, with the auctions and stuff. I don't know what you do if you do any of your own auctions, but it impresses me. By the time lot number 4 in his auction is being bid on, lot number 1, 2, and 3, the mailing labels are already printed out and the bill's been paid and credited. Wow.
Yeah, the money is paid at the time of the lot ending. Within 5 seconds of the lot ending, the money is paid ahead of time. I know that the eBay people, sometimes we have to wait 2, 3, 4 days to get payment. Whatnot doesn't do that. They have the credit card on file. It's instant payment, and you do not have to worry about it.
And Whatnot, and for Whatnot, if you're doing Whatnot, who I'm confused on this. Is there, when you're on Whatnot, the money goes directly to you? And is there a mandatory system of payment that you have to use on Whatnot?
I don't know. I don't get involved in that. It all goes through Whatnot, and Whatnot takes their cut as soon as my sale is sold.
Gotcha. All right, that answers my question.
As I print out a label like this, this lot was sold 20 minutes ago. It's getting shipped in the back room now. Monday morning, it's on its way.
Max, I never realized this. You're in Faith Farm now. Where? Which one?
Fort Lauderdale, second floor.
Okay. The other 2 locations, do they have the same kind of huge book flow, or all the books go to you?
All the media comes down to me.
Okay, it doesn't go to the other places.
They'll sit on it. It'll sit
but eventually it comes to you.
And everything gets shipped here.
Interesting. Wow, you have an unlimited supply. Erik, I don't mean to leave you out of the conversation.
No, that's fine. No. No, you were asking if I had something that was real puzzling to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have some. So this is a real head scratcher. So this is almost in the realm of a out of place artifact, and those are meant to be artifacts that exist because they were found, they were discovered legitimately, but they shouldn't exist. They because the technology, the timelines don't match up. They're kind of impossible artifacts. Okay,
Erik, Hold it. We got to hit a
Sure.
break or we're
Go
going to get
ahead. No,
music
perfect.
down. No, I want to hear this story.
Yes,
We'll
no,
be
I know.
back after these commercial words. Stretcher, the D block, as they would say. If you have questions, we'd love to hear from you. 888-575-4394. That's 888-575-4394. If you want to reach Erik off air, you can reach Erik at 612-804-2647, 612-804-2647, or online at professorencodus.com. Professor spells like it sounds. It's all one word, ENCODUS.com. If you want to reach me off air, it's a landline, 305-868-5515. And Max can be reached at commongroundfinds.com and on YouTube at his Paper and Gold videos. Max, I'm talking to you on this one. I feel like we're keeping you from being busier than you are. So why don't give me a closing line, a tip for beginners, a pearl of wisdom, food for thought, and then go back to work. I feel like I'm distracting you.
Oh, no.
I know you can multitask.
I'm a multitasker. Well, let me rewind for everybody so they understand why I'm here and how I got here. Let's do a quick little bio. I'm a former high school teacher, former girls high school basketball coach, 18 years. And Steve, you know, I'm very transparent about who I am and what my life is. I had a wonderful mentor in the book business before there was an eBay and before there was an Amazon back in the early 90s. Robert Hittle, bookseller in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And he was giving me master's degree knowledge without me realizing I was getting master's degree knowledge about books. And he had a 3-story bookstore, of which I managed for many years. And that was the unequivocal, amazing education I was getting without realizing I was going to use it in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Halfway through my teaching career and my coaching career, I was getting a little bored, a little frustrated, a little angst-ridden about having to do 30 years in this. And I started wanting to go back to what made me happy, which was books. And I started selling on eBay and Amazon. And progressively and slowly, I learned how to source books that customers wanted. And my business has grown ever since. After the year 18, I got out of teaching. I retired early and I went into full-time book selling. Of course, it's a much longer and broader and deeper story than that, but that's the Cliff Note version. And now I spend every day of my life doing what I love. And it goes back to what my father used to say back in the, as when I was a child, do what you love and you'll never work for a living. And so while you see me here yelling at labels and these men coming back and forth, I'm not working. I'm having the time of my life. I'm having the time of my life. I have the pleasure of having the both of you in a conversation right now. And when I'm done here, I'll go sell some more books somewhere else. So
the three of us have that story in common. It's not a job. It's a hobby that grew into a business. I mean, we started collecting coins and stamps and dinosaur, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, it is. Nobody's happier when you capital, then the person that makes a living and capitalizes on it. Listen, I'm going to let you go because I feel bad that you're multitasking and you could be doing more if you weren't having to turn your head around every couple of minutes.
I would be doing more if I was an octopus and I had 6 more arms. Then
But on the other end of it, just be between us and the public here, so to speak. Bryce is coming down Tuesday. We're going to ship you we're going to have, if art books are Friday, in theory, October, November, and December, I'm dominating Fridays if you don't have them, because we've been working on the right-hand side of the warehouse, which is where Harold's books and the other books are. On the left-hand side of the warehouse, it's 20 feet deep and 8 foot high, collapsible bookshelves, all art, architecture, just the kind of stuff that Fridays are made of. You're going to send Bryce down with boxes, and I'm going to bring a scale. So it'll be very easy to hand him
Beautiful.
20 pounds of art books and put them in a box. And I'll tell you what, I'll even throw in a couple just to make the auction exciting, with the understanding that, it might not go for money, but we'll be making a buyer happy. But meaning I'll put in a good, in 1 or 2 boxes, I will slip in a good art book intentionally so somebody can really feel, I mean, you agree with that, no?
I agree with giving customers value 100% of the time.
Oh yeah, and this is not just value. We're giving them value, but I guess using your phrase, we're also giving them a bonus.
Yeah.
Will that affect the bidding? We'll find out.
Well, thank you for having me on again.
Oh, Max,
And,
definitely.
yeah.
We're gonna plan other stuff down the road. That for sure. We need to get a little more topic centric, so to speak, on our talks. But I think we both realize that.
All right, just
I will
put those books behind you in the shelves and boxes, and we'll come get those too.
No, you don't want. These are my reference books. They don't go anywhere. Take care, Max. Thank you.
Everybody.
Take care. Ciao, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Eric, we got about 7 more minutes. So I always ask this, especially when my guest is as informative and as knowledgeable as you are.
Mm-hmm.
What can you're in a multifaceted area. Somebody wants to start collecting minerals, fossils,
Sure.
arms, armor, whatever it might be, artifacts.
Yeah.
What are some of the basic tips, especially if the person is going into it to not just collect, but to buy and sell? What's some advice based on early mistakes that we've all made that you can benefit somebody in the audience that might be thinking about it to not make that mistake?
Sure.
Excuse me.
No, well, I'll tell you this, that, and this is what Max had said this, and it's the same thing that I say to people is that, he said he went back to what made him happy, and I said, I went back to what made me happy, and there's an interesting psychology book that I was reading one time, and they said that the majority of people, 95% of people, they find what really makes them happy when they're children. And so a lot of times people will say, when I was a kid, I really liked this, but they then abandon it because now you have to be an adult, or, you can't do that. That's for children, well, no, embrace that. If there was something that you really enjoyed when you were a child, don't fear it, embrace it, do what you feel is good. The other piece of advice, this is a little more like a little more direct, but do what you know. And don't do what you think you know. If you can go in thinking that you know everything, and then you keep making bad deals, you keep losing money, it just quit pretending and realize that this may not be the field for you. And you also have to be brave enough to admit that you don't know everything. Like you don't know what is really going to happen. So that's a big piece of it. So I'd say, do what makes you happy. If you have a collection, keep going with it. And then if something comes along that you realize is you don't like, don't be afraid to pivot to something else that you do. Like for me, I really enjoyed coins and coin collecting. And I did that for years. And I got more into it and I got more into it. And then I started to realize as I got higher and higher up the ladder, I realized that the real knowledgeable and avid numismatic people are they're very picky and they are highly critical, and they're saying, look, this coin has a flaw, it's right there. And I'm looking at it going, I legitimately can't see. I legitimately, and I'm not being dumb, I don't know what you're talking about, but I only got to that knowledge because I went through and did it myself, and I was actually there in it. And I realized, oh my gosh, I'm in over my head. I can't, this is no longer fun. This is now like a test that I have to take in high school that I didn't study for. And I am not sure if I'm going to pass or not. And someone's going to ask me a question and I'm going to say, I don't know what it's supposed to do. I'm not sure. So at that point I pivoted. I still do coins, but I didn't advance into the higher brow.
Yeah. That's amazing. It's like stamp collecting.
Oh yeah.
If you are my age or close to it and you collected stamps as a kid and you want to pick it up again, I'm going to give you some very sound advice. Forget every frickin' thing you thought you knew or you actually knew as a fact. It's basura. It's trash. It's shice. I couldn't believe how it changed, even to the point of, I had to splurge. I went out and I had the stamp collection I'm working on. So, I had to get a current Scott's catalog. It was $225. I said, what the hell? And when I look at it, hinged, unhinged,
Yeah.
never, I mean, where did these categories come from? I remember when they changed firearms grading from good to NRA this and NRA that with a percentage number, but I never even knew somewhere between 2010 and 2022, which is the year of the catalogs I got, they started to include hinged, not hinged, things like that.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting. It's always a learning experience. Books, you cannot master it in a lifetime, multiple lifetimes, like any other, thing when it goes on to antiquity and history. I mean, there are people that are firearms experts, and in that subdivision, there's the guy that could tell you about every one of the 181 variations of the Luger,
Yeah,
and
exactly right. Yeah.
and all of that. So you never know. Anyway, Eric, I'm gonna reach out to Levin. I still have to get some tests, so I don't know if suddenly, what's going to happen if I go. I don't think I'm going off air again in the foreseeable future, but I will contact him. When I mention you to him, he knows you?
No, he does not know me.
He doesn't know you. Does he know that you bought the stuff that he? Oh, okay. Wait, let me make a note. Does not know. That makes it more fun.
It is because
well, as long as he doesn't, I see a double-edged sword there personally, not knowing the guy.
Yeah.
In some areas, some guy might really like that.
Yeah.
Certain personalities, like, why'd you send me that freaking love letter that I wrote it to the guy just because you found it in a book and you thought it would make you feel good? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
All right. On that note, we got to go because we get dumped in 12 seconds. If Roy Rogers and Dale Evans were book dealers, we'd be singing happy book sales and buys to you till we meet again. Ciao for now. Thank you, Captain Hook.